Get it. Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Get it. Get it.
Get it.
Yeah.
Get it.
Ooh.
How about a room of the Ritz, wrapped in velvet, covered in glitz? A little look at gonna clear those hits, and you'll get it.
A little look at us, some of them tits, you'll get it. Welcome.
Welcome to Kentucky Fried Roadkill, a musical theater podcast. I am your bluegrass baritone, Treyton Blackburn.
Ooh, and I am your tall tenor. No, that sucks.
Oh no, but
I am the Duke of Diarrhea, Evan Pride.
what a fucking stalwart
Hard
beat
pivot.
shift right there, huh?
Well, I didn't like tall tenor. I was trying to keep with your theme.
No, I get you. Welcome to Kentucky Fried Roadkill, you guys.
Yeah, hi. How y'all doing out there?
We're fucking pissing and shitting and
pissing and shitting in holes
and living life.
Yeah.
Tara's grandmother used to say, there's only two things you got to do: live or die, pee or burst. That's true. That's true. You go with those guiding principles, you'll be all right.
My biology teacher said, as long as a man's gut is full and his balls are empty, he makes good decisions in life.
Your teacher said this to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a really weird day in the second grade.
My freshman biology teacher. That's been my guiding light ever since, too. Oh, how you doing, Treyton?
I'm doing all right, Evan Pride.
Where are we? So we're recording this episode back to back
double feature
right after we recorded last week's episode.
Yeah.
So
it was a Spike Lee joint.
Yes. So we're coming to you from the future.
Yeah.
That's so weird how podcast works. Like this won't be out until like 2 weeks after this came out. So like the next 9/11 could have happened and
whoa,
and we won't.
Let's
even
hope
know.
not, huh?
We'll call it 6/11 or some shit.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. But
to anybody from New York who listens to this podcast, sorry.
Sorry. Happy Pride Month. Gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride. Happy Pride to all of the LGBTQ plus people who listen to this podcast.
And my family.
You are yep. You are loved, you're validated. Thank you for being on our earth and contributing to the culture and the fight. And
thank you for not repopulating.
Well, some of them repopulate.
Yeah, do they? Or
Yeah,
I thought they recycle mostly.
No, I know two LGBTQ plus people who I work with who have biological children.
Ah, well, for the most part, then I don't like them because because the whole point of
Interesting.
the great thing about gay people is that they do not repopulate this already overpopulated planet we are living on.
I think it is weird, but also fascinating that that is your sort of guiding principle on Pride Month and the gay experience. I think you, as a heterosexual, cis heterosexual straight white guy, I think your perspective is really wanted and really valid.
Well, I've been asked to speak.
Sure.
They asked for my thoughts on this.
Oh, did they?
I thought I'd give them. Yeah. They said, hey, give us the Pride perspective on
the Pride perspective on Pride.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, kind of shitty. It's a kind of a shitty perspective to have.
Nah, I love gay people. Love the whole rainbow of shit. Welcome to KFR, the biggest ally podcast you know.
The biggest ally podcast ran by straight people.
Yes.
You know about.
Yeah, sure. And so I guess we're talking to weeks in the future right now.
Yes. How's the future, guys?
Well, I guess there's a couple episodes out of Loki.
Yes. I have seen the first at this point.
You've seen the first. I've seen 0. I guess we'll start this podcast off the way most KFR episodes go, with some Marvel talk.
Yes. It's an MCU musical theater podcast.
Yeah.
The strange crossover is Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, which is fascinating.
Which we've never talked about.
But it'll come up certainly at some point.
Really not much to talk about. Just Bono wrote a musical
with Julie Taymor.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man.
It's bad.
and a lot of
and
people
dangerous.
a lot of people got hurt trying to make it good.
yeah. It's one of the few sort of pieces of musical theater where the solution was like, let's just give up. Like, let's just not do this.
Let's just pull the plug on this whole thing, and then really, really try to make people forget about it. My uncle took my little brother to see that years and
you
years
watched
ago.
Spider-Man get maimed.
Yeah. You watch Spider-Man hang himself with his own
with the harness,
with his string and shit. No, but so Loki's out now. So I've seen the trailers for
Owen
Loki.
Wilson is in the MCU. Guard your loins. Guard your loins.
Wilson, dude. I love Owen Wilson.
I do too, man.
So goddamn much. I don't think he's like... It's impossible for him to be bad in anything and also fully play a serious character in anything. He was in that movie... Oh, I don't even know. It was called like A Way Out or something. It came out a couple years ago, and it was like him and his family were like vacationing in Iraq or some shit.
Sure.
And just like just were the wrong white people in the wrong place at the wrong time, and just shit started going down, and like it's like the whole movie's like an action thriller about him trying to get his family out of the Middle East or some shit. I never saw it, but me and my friends, we could not make it through the trailer without falling apart laughing.
Wow.
Because he's like, Jess, listen, we're gonna die if we don't get out of here. We gotta get the kids. They're gonna kill us, don't you understand?
Here's the thing about Owen Wilson. It's really hard to like visualize him outside.
They're gonna torture you.
Outside of a fucking Wes Anderson movie. It's really hard to visualize him outside that style.
He works so well. Well, also because his style and Wes Anderson's go very hand in hand because they've been working together since day one.
Yes, they have.
Wes Anderson's first movie, Bottle Rocket, was co-written, I believe, by I'm pretty sure by Luke Wilson, and I think also Owen Wilson. The Wilson brothers have been big on the Wes Anderson train for a while now. He just works in that quirky, serious, and he can really whisper lines really well, I guess.
One of the things that and I'm not spoiling Loki for you, but tonally, it's a dark comedy.
Yeah, well,
like it's some, in my opinion, it's some of like the darkest, like, sort of nihilistic undertones the MCU has ever had.
I'm glad to hear that because Loki is supposed to be a nihilistic, fuck you, kind of chaotic character.
Yeah,
he's kind of like the Joker in the Marvel world, where he just kind of stands for anarchy.
But he does have
some moral.
He has a heart.
Yeah,
which the Joker does not have.
Yes.
But what is so like? The concept of the show, and I didn't like, it's in all the trailers, it's not spoilers, but like it didn't hit me how brilliant it was until I watched it, the first episode. But they've taken Loki, like this character that epitomizes anarchy and chaos, and they've put him in like the most staunch, tightly wound bureaucracy in the multiverse, the Time Variance Authority, the people who literally manage the linear flow of time. It's so brilliant.
I was gonna say, I was like, because Loki, any show or movie like that, it's like the bad guy turned good guy.
Yeah.
Terminator 2, come with me if you want to live. The bad guy's now the good guy, and I was wondering how they were gonna do that. But if they've imposed the big limitations of time will fall apart if you don't play along with us.
Well, and like,
sounds like a good.
It's
plot
just
premise.
It's so bureaucratic. Like Owen Wilson is this character that epitomizes order, and Loki is this character that epitomizes chaos. And something that the show is doing really interestingly right now is, because of like these nihilistic undertones that it's adopting, it's kind of at this point trying to sort of say that order and chaos really aren't that far apart.
Yeah.
Because either way, your choices don't matter. If we live in an orderly universe, your choices don't matter because everything is predetermined.
Yes.
And if we live in a chaotic universe, your choices don't matter because everything is chaos and nothing means anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's brilliant, the sort of synthesis Marvel is reaching with just the first episode of Loki. I'm very interested to see where it goes thematically.
The first thing you told me when you showed up to my house here was that you think it might be more than WandaVision.
It's got potential.
It's got more legs than WandaVision.
The one thing that WandaVision has up on it,
stylized.
Well, not even just stylization, but it's pastiche, right? Like it is drawing from something that we all kind of understand. Like it has a leg up because it's drawing on that sitcom format.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's really easy to do well when you've got a base to work from.
When you're doing a parody of I Love Lucy or a parody of Malcolm in the Middle.
But I will say Loki is not as unique as WandaVision, but it, in my opinion, of all three of the Disney Plus shows up to this point, WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, and Loki is the one that feels most original. Like this is an idea that hasn't really been done. It's like if Doctor Who were a crime procedural.
Interesting.
It's weird. It's very weird, and I like it a lot.
Which Doctor Who is kind of like. I mean, Doctor Who, as much as like it's weird, sciencey, like robots and shit. A lot of it's like they show up to a town and there's a mystery. It's like there's something that's going on, and the kids are disappearing, but only at 2:00 on Tuesdays,
right.
and you got to figure it out.
Imagine if Doctor Who had like people he had to report to. And like there were rules he had to follow beyond like the ones he imposes on himself.
Yeah.
That's and imagine all that plus if Doctor Who was one of the most nihilistic shows you'd ever seen.
Interesting.
And that's kind of what Loki is.
But the thing is, so you say it's very nihilistic.
Yes.
Do you there's no way that do you think they're going to carry that tone throughout the whole thing? Cuz for Marvel to make a nihilism piece for a whole series is like it wouldn't have a happy ending if it was truly nihilistic.
It honestly, and like I don't know what I think there'll be some hope at the end of it,
because I think that's what Marvel's good at. They're good at being like, hey, even in all the chaos and darkness and shit, there's hope.
Sure.
And we have each other, and we got family. We can talk about the new Fast and Furious 9 after this if you want.
I know nothing about it, so I've never seen a Fast and the Furious movie.
They're great. They're
I've heard nothing but good things.
#1 franchise. Honestly, of like as far as franchises go, I mean, they give their fan base exactly what they want every single time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've ever disappointed, like because they can kill off characters and bring them back. The only character that they can't bring back is Paul Walker because he's actually dead.
Sure.
That's the biggest disappointment that the Fast and Furious fan base has had is that Paul Walker actually died in real life.
Yeah, that's sad. But like, I don't know, dude. Like, Loki, it's so funny. Like, it is unapologetically a dark comedy. And like you're laughing the whole time, but if you think for just a second about any of the undertones in the first episode, you're like, fuck, that's dark. That's pretty dark, huh?
You know what I've found in the Marvel universe is that Thor has the best sense of humor of all the maybe aside from the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, but in the main cast lineup, it's Thor and like the bigger, like what's that big thing called, Atlas or whatever, the big Asgard, right?
Yeah, Asgard.
The whole Asgard gods things, they just have I don't know, a more casual something about it seems funnier to me. Like it seems like the stakes are all the higher, and so Loki and Thor were very easily used as comic characters throughout the Avengers.
And like a lot of that has to go with like the shift that Thor undertook. Starting in Age of Ultron is where he started to get funny, but then when Taika Waititi came in and took Ragnarok,
oh yeah,
that's when it really took off.
But I always thought, like, I think the original Thor was one of the first Marvel movies that was just truly very, very funny.
Yeah. And
Like him smashing the mug. I'll have another. Yeah.
Well, and that, I think, because really nobody knows who directed Thor: The Dark World because it was so dog shit awful. No one cares to remember the name of the person who directed it.
I barely remember the title of it, let alone
so awful.
Let alone any plot point from it. I just remember, like, at one point they're in a courtyard and like the
Dark elves are after the Reality Stone is basically the whole plot.
Okay. Some point they're on like an ice planet and there's a battle, maybe. Yeah.
Who cares?
Who fucking cares?
But
the Dark World, the Dark Ages.
That the first like big profile director Marvel had, like, because Favreau wasn't huge when Iron Man came out. Like,
no.
Like Iron Man's kind of what shot Favreau into the director's seat.
Yeah, and then Chef just cemented his place on the Mount Rushmore of film directors.
Yes. And then
shout out Chef.
And then I can't remember. I don't know who directed The Incredible Hulk, but Kenneth Branagh directed the first Thor movie.
Oh,
because they wanted to have a Shakespearean tone.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And so, like, he was kind of the first like filmmaker they had brought in to do a Marvel movie. And like it shows. Like Thor, in my opinion, is what solidifies the Marvel universe as what it's going to be, right? Like, if you go back and watch Iron Man 1 and The Incredible Hulk, like, the tone is very weird. Like, it's kind of, like, got a darkness to it and, like, a militant vibe.
Did they come out, was Thor before or after Captain America?
Before.
Okay.
Yeah, Cap was the last movie to come out before the Avengers.
I remember when Captain America came out, that was the first movie that people didn't like the original Captain America.
I think it gets a bad rap. I like that movie.
I mean, I remember enjoying it, but I was also pretty young when I watched it.
I watched it again just the other day, and I thought it was great.
I haven't seen it in years. All I just know is that scene where I just saw like a behind the scenes thing about that scene where he becomes Captain America.
Yeah.
They juice him up with like the government steroids and shit.
Yeah.
And he's running down the street with barefoot and shit, and just shirtless, just showing off his pecs and shit. There's glass and shit all over the streets. I say in shit a lot.
Shit, yeah, a lot of shit in your world, huh?
Well, there's booty hole. I am the Duke of Diarrhea.
You are the Duke of Diarrhea, that's true.
And he was wearing these like these feet shoes.
Sure.
And if you slow down the movie in real life, it's very obvious that he's wearing like just
little feet shoes.
Yeah, feet painted shoes.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But I mean, it's a war comic book movie. Like, literally, it's a World War II movie. That's also a comic book movie.
Yeah, I guess when I was a little kid, I thought it was like, this isn't comic booky enough for me to like it like that, and it isn't war enough.
Sure,
like it's not bloody and violent enough. And I just remember I hated him with that little pistol in the trailer. He's like pew pew pew, and he's got the big old shield.
Yeah. But one of the things that I've always found cool about the first Thor movie is how it really gets you in to like it's unapologetically comic booky. Like, it is unapologetically like, this is a comic book movie.
It is, yeah.
And that's what I think Thor does really well. Like, the Dark World like tries to get gritty, which sucks, but like the first Thor movie and Thor Ragnarok, like, they're screaming, this is a comic book movie.
What are your opinions on the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies?
Oh my god. Sam Raimi hurt me. Sam Raimi is my boy.
So you enjoyed them.
Yes. That's my shit. This is true. I was so obsessed with the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies growing up that my nickname as a child was Toby.
Just
after Tobey Maguire.
Oh, really? You were that ugly?
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Tobey Maguire, I mean, I never thought about it when I was a little kid just because I was like, that's Spider-Man. That's what Spider-Man is. But later on, after seeing like Tom Holland's and like getting more into the comics and like, oh, this guy's in high school and shit, you realize how bad of a, or
He's too old.
He's too old, and he's like a 30-year-old playing a high schooler.
Yeah.
But I always thought he had the best Spider-Man suit.
Really?
That textured look to it. Oh yeah.
I think Tom Holland's got the best suit.
It just looks too. It's too cartoony for me, I guess.
But it's so clean. Like it's
it's very clean. It's very clean.
And here's what
in the Marvel world, it definitely works.
Here's what I've always hated about no beef to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies. Profoundly important movies for me in my life.
Yeah. Good movies, but not they're also kind of bad movies too.
I think Spider-Man 2 is the greatest Spider-Man story ever told.
Yeah, well, okay, Spider-Man 2, everybody agrees that they knocked it out of the park with that one.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 1
is a corny camp fest.
And
it rules.
And yeah, it's just that one's just so nostalgia. I guess that one is more a victim of its era than anything. The music, it's like Nickelback and shit that they play in that movie. That's terrible. And then the third one it's at the same time,
everyone's too much.
It's simultaneously the coolest one and just the stupidest, most ridiculous one.
Let me say this. Is Spider-Man 3 a bad movie? Yes.
Yes.
Is everyone too afraid to admit that they love it? Also, yes. Everyone is a coward because that movie, nobody has a bad time watching that movie. It's bad. Every second is bad. And you're like, but God, this rules though, right? This rules. This is.
How did they get so off base? They just tried to do too much.
Well, Sam Raimi had a vision for what the story was going to be for the whole, he was going to do 4 Spider-Man movies, and it was going to be a quadrilogy.
Oh, okay.
And the third movie was going to be about Sandman and Harry becoming the Goblin.
Yeah.
But the studio demanded he did Venom.
Yeah, and they wanted to cram in Venom.
And he did not want to do Venom. He hated the idea of doing Venom because he knew it would ruin the movie.
Venom really is the worst part of that movie.
He is the worst because he sucks.
Yeah.
And so,
but it's it's made as the most important thing.
Yeah,
he's made as the
ultimate. The worst part is the most
villain.
important thing.
Yeah.
And then the fourth movie was going to be The Vulture, who we eventually got with Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton
is the Vulture in.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Wait, that was in the Andrew
MCU?
Garfield ones.
No, that is in Tom Holland's.
Which one is that?
The first one. Spider-Man Homecoming.
Really?
Yep, Michael Keaton is the Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, he is. Dude, I need to rewatch that. I still haven't seen the sequel to Far From Home.
Far From Home. And then the third movie that's coming out, No Way Home.
Okay. Hasn't Tom Holland given away the names of the movies 3 times in a row?
Not the third one. He was innocent the third one, but the other 2, yes.
Shout out Tom Holland. We've talked about
a secret, bud.
We've talked about Tom Holland a good amount on this show.
Here's another thing that I don't know. Sam Raimi directed the second Doctor Strange movie. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is a Sam Raimi joint.
Oh, I did know that.
It's gonna fucking rule.
That's gonna be awesome.
They gave Sam Raimi more money than God and said, make a crazy Doctor Strange movie. And Sam Raimi said, okay, can Bruce Campbell be in it? Marvel said, yes.
And I guess in keeping with the Marvel theme, we also, I guess a couple weeks now, said that we would talk about the Eternals.
And Shang-Chi,
yes.
Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I watched the trailers
I
for them.
I also watched the trailers.
They look great.
They do.
I guess the big thing my mind just gets stuck on, and I might have already talked about it, but just the fact that Kumail got
yes,
jacked as fuck,
the boy
for him. But what are your thoughts? Because you've definitely know more about those characters and all that shit than I do.
So actually, I didn't know anything about the Eternals.
The Eternals just seemed like it seems like a hodgepodge of characters, or is it it's like a league? It's like a Super Friends league.
I'll give you a rundown here in a moment. So Marvel announced the Eternals, and I was like, who? And then I Googled them, and I was like, who? So eventually I just decided, I was like, I'll just read some. I'll read whatever is the best recent run on the Eternals. and see how they are. And Neil Gaiman wrote the Eternals very recently.
How do I know Neil Gaiman?
He wrote Coraline. He wrote American Gods.
Okay, I know Coraline.
Yeah, he wrote He wrote Sandman. Neil Gaiman is a legend. When it comes to Good Omens is Neil Gaiman.
He's a comic book writer
And a novelist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Neil Gaiman wrote it, and I was like, oh fuck. Well, if Neil Gaiman wrote this is probably going to be good then. So I read this reintroduction arc that Neil Gaiman wrote for the Eternals, and shit is wild. So the Eternals are Marvel's ancient aliens. That's what they are. They are a group of aliens who live on Earth and were worshipped as gods throughout time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Marvel always takes it to the next. Are there like ghost superheroes?
Yes.
Like, okay, they have something for everything. There's like,
yeah.
Do they have a superhero that's like God? No, they do. The like the god planets, like the god beings,
the Celestials.
Yeah,
Yes.
They do.
Well,
they literally have it all covered.
So the Eternals, their thing is, and I don't know if the MCU is going to do this. This is what they are in the comics. So in the comics, planets are eggs for Celestials. Celestials grow inside of planets.
Oh shit! So Earth
is an egg for a Celestial.
Earth is an egg.
And Galactus, who you may have heard of.
Yeah, he's
Fantastic Four villain who eats planets.
Oh, that guy.
The reason Galactus exists is because he is the natural predator of Celestials. He keeps their population down because he eats their eggs. That's Galactus's purpose.
He's like a snake.
Exactly.
Or one of those barracudas that comes in and eats all the fish eggs.
And the planets that Galactus chooses to eat are celestial eggs that are getting ready to hatch.
Oh, so Earth is about to hatch. And
Galactus comes to try to keep the Celestial from hatching.
And the Eternals fight him.
That's right. Their job, they were created by the Celestials to protect planets from Galactus. That's the Eternals' purpose.
So Galactus seems like he would be the most powerful villain in the MCU. If he's the celestial killer.
Yeah.
There's always
he's not a reality warper. Like Thanos had more power than Galactus would.
Is Thanos the most powerful like villain in the MCU?
Certainly not.
Okay, certainly not. Oh wow.
The most powerful villain we've seen in the MCU is undoubtedly Hela. Hela from Thor Ragnarok is undoubtedly the most powerful character we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Followed closely by Ego the Living Planet in Guardians 2.
Yeah, I remember Ego because he's a celestial.
He's a celestial.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Thanos is a guy with a plucky attitude.
Yeah. He just a guy with ambition.
Yeah. Thanos is not particularly powerful. It's his drive that makes him dangerous. But Hela and Ego, like, they're fucking lucky they died when they did.
Yeah. Well, didn't she grew super big? She was like all Ant-Man-y. Oh, no. I'm thinking of the thing that killed her at the end.
Surtur the Fire Demon.
Damn, they got so many things.
Yeah. But
they got so many things.
So many things out there. Well, and the thing is like they're introducing a lot of very, very powerful characters in this next phase, like Kang the Conqueror, who is one of the most powerful villains in Marvel because he you can't beat him because he exists all through time. Like eventually you'll catch up to him in the timeline even if you kill him because he's always jumping back and forth through time. You can't beat Kang. And the lovely Jonathan Majors is playing Kang the Conqueror, and he's going to be the villain in an Ant-Man movie, which I find fascinating that Paul Rudd's Ant-Man is going to stare down Kang the Conqueror in a solo movie.
Ant-Man is the villain, is the superhero that you're like, okay, he seems to, he's just like a cat burglar that all of a sudden can be super small or super big. I guess they make him like some MIT scientist or something.
He's an electrician.
Oh, he's just an electrician?
Yes, he's got a master's degree in being an electrician.
Okay, so I guess he's just crafty, coy dude.
Well, and that's where Hank Pym comes in, because he's the one who's the brains behind the operation.
Yeah, the guy who makes the
Pym particles.
You know, I just thought of a good way for us to end this episode. Last episode we did in defense of musicals.
Yeah.
This episode I want to do in defense of Marvel.
In defense of Marvel, we'll do that.
Yeah, and
this is gonna be a Marvel Power Hour. I think.
A Marvel Power Hour.
Yeah, that title of the episode. Marvel Power Hour.
Marvel Power Hour. There it is.
Yeah. But
because we don't have to end the episode yet because
Sure.
we're pretty shallow into it. But
yeah. But I'm very fascinated to see where the MCU like cuts the power level, right? Like, when are they gonna be like,
because
this is enough. This is enough power.
They have to put a roof on it at some point.
Because that's what everybody gets frustrated with in the comics, is there's no roof on it.
Yeah.
And like, we just need, like, there are a couple of characters that could fill the niche of like the most powerful person. It's just a matter of who it's gonna be. Like, there's one character called the Living Tribunal, and he is above Celestials. And his job is to decide, like, what is fair game in reality. So, like, his job is, like, when there are crimes against the way the world is supposed to work, you have to go stand trial before the one above all. And he has to decide whether or not you fucked up reality.
Eventually, these movies are just going to get so meta that people are going to be done with them, I feel like.
Well, and, like,
I wonder, when has the superhero trend run its course? Like, are people tired of superheroes, do you think?
Well, from what I've seen on Marvel TikTok, the answer is no.
Well, yeah. Well, Marvel has they've built a big fan base, and they've made superhero movies
that are good.
Yeah. Well, they've made it a big thing. They've made it like the zombie movie and shit. I just wonder what the next thing, like, because, you know, that was a thing, like, in the, what was it, like, in the 50s and 60s, I don't know the dates, but like in a certain decade, people were, I think in the 60s, people were very interested in space travel and shit because of the space race and alien. There was it was the space race and all those like, it came from the lagoon, the alien from beyond, all that shit was coming out. And then dinosaurs were big in the 90s because of Jurassic Park. Medieval times flare back up and shit. It's like things that little kids are into.
Yeah, but here's the thing that I wonder about with the MCU, and I'm sure I've said this on the podcast before, there's just never really been anything like it. It's just so kind of wholly its own beast. There's never been a serialized set of films that work the way the MCU does. It's just never happened.
Yeah, well, it's because they've built an entire, they've set it up to where it's not only they have their thing on Earth, but they have their thing in the whole universe and also a multiverse.
Yes.
So they can literally never run out of shit.
Right, and so like I'm very interested to see creatively the direction they go with the power level of this next group and like what the next Thanos is going to be. I have theories like based on my comic knowledge of what they appear to be building
based on my comic knowledge.
Yeah, based on what I've read, I know there are a lot of signs that point to them building up to 2015's Secret Wars, which is a huge multiverse event.
I've heard of Secret Wars.
Yeah, so there was a Secret Wars back in the 80s.
2015 Secret War. Okay, I probably know about that because my buddy Ryan, I won't say his last name, but the Ryan who's into comic books.
Yeah, you know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are. He was always talking about Secret Wars, and
the 2015 Secret Wars is often considered one of the greatest comic book stories ever told.
Okay,
it is often considered. It's a like. I don't want to say anything about it because if the MCU's doing it, I want everybody to experience it.
It was like Infinity Gauntlet and then Secret Wars, right?
Infinity Gauntlet was like back in the 80s.
Okay.
Infinity War. But
Infinity War, okay.
Yeah.
But but it's like a big war, like
It's an event comic.
Yeah, a big series of events.
Yeah.
When do the events of, I guess, when does Thanos first appear? Because he's in that after credits thing. I'll do
in the
it
MCU.
myself.
He first appears at the end of the Avengers. He's the post-credit scene in the Avengers.
Okay. And he was like, he had sent all those.
Yeah,
monsters?
he had sent Loki to New York.
Okay. I had never put that together. I was just like, oh yeah, Loki's attacking New York, and there's all these aliens and shit.
Loki got his army from Thanos because Thanos was trying to conquer Earth to get the Infinity Stones that were already there.
Yeah, and that's what the box cube thing was.
Yeah, the Tesseract. Also, the gem in Loki's staff is the Mind Stone. Doctor Strange and the Sorcerers have the Time Stone.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I like how Marvel tracks through from like the beginning of Marvel to where they are now.
Yeah.
I like how they've tracked through with like, okay, Iron Man, and like he's got the iron suit, and it's like, whoa, it's like you're almost like a superhero or something. And then the Hulk, and it's like, oh my god, that's like an actual superhuman. And then all the things come together, and then the attack on New York, and
they're like, the world is different.
Yeah, the world's like superheroes and aliens exist now, and like we have to. I love how the world building and how they didn't just start at a place of like, and superheroes, waka waka. It took them like fucking 15, 20 years of building up.
Right.
Just like this event happened, and people are like, holy shit now. And the fucking people living in the Marvel universe right now have to be. Could you imagine being like?
Absolutely not. I would certainly. I would never live in a city. I would be like, I've got to be as far away from urban centers as possible because my shit will get fucked.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I am moving to the country, and you'll never see me again.
We will be down here in this holler.
Yeah, I'll be in the holler. You all do your thing out there.
Pikeville will become the next New York City.
Yeah. No, fuck. I gotta get out of here.
Wouldn't that be crazy if there was a mass migrations to just rural? I feel like that's what's gonna happen in the next decades and shit as the aliens come and shit. Because I think our real history will follow a similar path to Marvel. That
there's gonna be an attack, and we're gonna be like, oh my god, aliens and superheroes are real.
Maybe not the superheroes part, but like. But because Marvel, they have crazy technology on Earth.
Yeah.
That they make superhumans. I could see superhumans and like super soldiers becoming a thing.
Okay.
For sure.
Sure.
I could see them taking alien technology and then
reverse engineering
it. And I could definitely see an alien attack. In fact, I'm predicting it.
Interesting.
6/11.
Interesting, bud.
That's what the next.
That's what's gonna happen.
The next 9/11.
Yeah, I think, and we said this on the podcast before. Marvel has just been so smart with the way they're doing things, and the one thing that they haven't been smart with that I think they're trying to rectify is representation. Like we had a whole team of white Avengers with one woman.
They did, yeah. Well, one green guy.
One green guy, yeah. But we're getting ready. The Eternals, obviously a very diverse cast.
Yeah.
Which, as they should be, if they are these gods worshipped all throughout the world, they should be a diverse group of characters that are worshipped in different areas of the world.
Yeah, makes sense.
With Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, the first Asian American led Marvel film.
Is there another Asian superhero?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, one of the Eternals, actually several of the Eternals are played by Asian performers.
Yeah.
But Shang-Chi was originally a very exploitative character in his existence as like that like very like kung fu stereotype.
Yeah. So they're kind of like reclaiming them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it seems really, really interesting. Like you can kind of tell with that sort of like new age, sort of East Asian beat that plays through the Legend of the Ten Rings trailer. It's very like we see a lot of it's not a very stereotypical trailer, right? Like, it's definitely going to be a martial arts movie. Like, that's going to be the genre.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't look like a Bruce Lee trailer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm very excited for it. And oh my God, Evan, look up in the sky.
What's that?
It's a bird. No,
it's a plane.
It's a plane. No, it's DC or OC. Hello, fans. Welcome to DC or OC, a comic book inspired game show within a podcast.
We're gonna dip out of the MCU to dip into the DCU.
Well, actually, no, we are still staying in the MCU.
Oh, are we?
This is the DC or OC Shang-Chi special.
Ooh.
Yes. So I've picked 3 Shang-Chi villains.
Okay.
2 of them are absolutely real and are going to be in the movie.
Okay.
And 1 of them is fake.
Okay.
That I made up, whole cloth, my own creation.
All right.
So, as is the reminder of the rules of DC or OC, I will give you the names first, and you can make a guess on the name. And if you get it wrong based on the names, I'll give you a brief description of each of the characters.
Okay. Let's hear the names.
Perfect. Okay. So, the first character is Death Dealer.
Death Dealer.
Death Dealer, yes.
That sounds because these characters were written in like the 60s and 70s and 80s and shit, probably. I'm guessing. Most I feel like all comic book characters came up in the 60s and 70s and 80s. I've never heard of like She-Hulk. That was a 90s thing or something.
Punisher was a 90s thing.
Punisher? Okay. That seems very 90s, very
Punisher
grunge.
was a lot of the darker characters. Deadpool was a 90s thing.
Okay. So Death Dealer might be
Death Dealer.
90s. Okay.
Okay. Second character, Razor Fist.
Razor Fist. All right. All right, proceed.
Third character, Jade Emperor.
Jade Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
Now that sounds real.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds real, and if not, if that's the one that you made up, that's pretty stereotypical for. And I don't think you would, if you were trying to come up with something, you would put together Jade Emperor as the Asian villain.
So, do you want to go ahead and guess, or do you want to hear descriptions?
I don't even need to hear Jade Emperor. I know that's a real villain, so I'm confident on that. Give me the first 2.
Okay. So, Death Dealer is a gambling-themed ninja who worked for MI6 and was sent by Shang-Chi's sister to kill him. He wears a Grim Reaper-inspired costume and only appeared for a few issues.
Okay.
Okay.
And then Razor Fist was the other one, right?
So Razor Fist is another martial artist, mercenary, assassin type guy. Fuck. Who was defeated by Shang-Chi in his first appearance and lost his hands in the battle and later returned with giant swords for arms in later appearances, getting the name Razor Fist.
Okay. I'm gonna go. So my strategy for this one is I'm gonna go with you're laughing too much at Razor Fist, but not enough to where I think that like you're laughing like, oh, I can't believe I wrote that. I think it's more of a I can't believe that's a real character laugh. So I'm gonna go with Death Dealer is the fake one. Death Dealer. I'm gonna go Death Dealer.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
No, Jade Emperor is the fake one.
Oh, you racist fuck. You piece of shit. Well, let me hear the description you wrote for Jade Emperor.
Jade Emperor is entombed in the king's palace with his armies of terracotta soldiers, defeated by the first Iron Fist, later becoming a Shang-Chi villain after his resurrection.
Yeah, I totally would have bought that.
And remember, Death Dealer the gambling-themed ninja MI6 agent, and Razor Fist, the guy with swords for hands. They're both going to be in the movie.
Oh shit, MI6. I didn't. MI6. That's like a Asian gang.
MI6
right?
is the British Secret Service.
Oh no. What am I thinking?
You
of?
racist fuck.
What am I thinking of? MS something.
MS is a disease.
No, I know that. MS5, MS15.
I don't know.
MG.
MGM.
MG Studios.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But another lost round of DC or OC
God
with
damn.
my dear friend Evan
You're
Pride.
good at that. You're good at that.
Look at Death Dealer and Razor Fist in the upcoming Shang-Chi movie.
I am excited for Razor Fist.
I'm also excited for Razor Fist. It's going to fucking rule.
That's cool. I love how Marvel plays with the genre
Yeah.
of films. They're really good at that. I love that's just one of my favorite things in films and in cinema
Yes.
is the playing with genre and the different subversions and the expectations and the
Right.
whole tonal mood and shit. And they've really been playing with genre in the last couple movies they went. So I'm excited to see a martial arts movie.
Well, it seems like their resting sort of practice is like X movie, but a superhero movie. Like war movie, but it's a superhero movie.
Yeah. They kind of created their own genre of just the superhero movie.
Yeah.
And then I feel like to make them more interesting, recently they've been leaning more on a genre.
Heist movie, but a superhero movie.
Yeah. That's what Ant-Man is.
Yeah. And in defense of Marvel, it's really hard to get like the verisimilitude that they have going, right? Like the consistency.
Great word, verisimilitude.
Verisimilitude.
It's a great word.
It's a beautiful word.
I've never pronounced that word correctly. Verisimilitude.
You got to take the pause in the middle to slow it down. Verisimilitude.
And what does that mean? It's
It's
the real lifeness, right?
No, it just means like the holisticness, right? Like
Okay.
everything working together really well.
Yeah.
Right? Like Doctor Strange and Ant-Man could not be more different movies, but they work so well together in this one world. And it is a true feat that they have been able to pull this off.
Yeah. And in defense of Marvel, so yeah, let's close
In
off.
defense of Marvel.
In defense of Marvel, because so the last episode we talked about In the Heights and musical theater and shit.
Yeah.
We're both very in with the theater crowd.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things to love about theater, which we both obviously do.
Yes.
And on the outside looking in, obviously there's a lot of shit that people hate
Yes.
about it,
Yeah.
which is fair, but we defended theater.
Yeah.
So, in defense of Marvel, there's a lot of people who just think comic book movies are dumb.
Martin
And-
Scorsese among them.
Yeah. Like, so what would you have to say to Martin in naysayers who put down comic books? And I guess let's list their grievances. They think, you mentioned it earlier, how there's always another evil. There's always a more a bigger, badder villain. Some people don't like the simplicity of like good versus evil.
Yeah, there's nothing. They're not challenging.
Yeah,
they're
not complex.
Yeah, they're cookie cutter.
Yeah.
They're manipulative to directors.
Yeah.
To fit within this greater vision.
Propaganda. Some people.
Yeah,
might
some people
call
would
them.
say it's military propaganda. And some of those critiques are entirely fair.
Yeah.
I would contest a few of them, but I think at some level there's a bit of elitism to people who very staunchly go after the Marvel movies. I think there is a perspective that they are pedestrian movies.
They're all they're not a art house film enough for me.
Right.
I prefer watching Das Boot and Nomadland.
Yeah. Well, and like there's the same people who like shit on comic book movies are the same people who are like, oh my god, Jojo Rabbit is so smart. And I'm like, Thor Ragnarok and Jojo Rabbit are by the same guy, and he his artistry comes through in both of them. Like, of course, Taika Waititi made both of those movies.
I loved Taika Waititi. And just quick side note, He has a movie called What We Do in the Shadows, which is fucking hilarious. It's about 3 New Zealand vampires who live together, and they have an offshoot of it now. There's a show on Hulu called What We Do in the Shadows, and it's a TV series of that, and they got 2 seasons of it so far, and I would highly, highly recommend it. It is fucking hilarious. It's a very weird, very certain sense of humor. It's Emily's new favorite show.
Okay.
And she fucking loves it. I think we're gonna have to go as vampires this Halloween
That's
or some
great.
shit.
That's perfect.
But it's a great show. Would highly recommend it.
Well,
and in my
no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in defense of Marvel, and I feel like this is just in defense of fantasy. I feel like people who come at Marvel movies and superhero movies, they're too like, oh no, I need real characters with real stories and shit.
Yeah.
It's people, you have to understand, like people's complaints with Marvel, it's like the same complaints with people complain about Star Wars and shit.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of the same things, cookie cutter and good versus evil and shit. And my defense of it is that all those criticisms,
right.
but it's the whole, it's spectacle, it's this, it's fantasy, it's a childlike wonder.
It's fun.
And
sometimes it can tackle some really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Like, look at Thanos was dealing with Malthusian ideals, right? Like, it takes some pretty heady philosophy to get to Thomas Malthus. But those ideals of overpopulation and justified genocide are real philosophical beliefs that are still talked about today.
It's true. Yeah. And they package it in a version that gets 13-year-olds to watch it.
Yeah, and it's digestible.
Yeah, and it's digestible. It's very digestible, and they're fun. God damn it! And fuck you.
Yeah. Well, and
how about that? That's my best in defense of Marvel. Fuck you.
Fuck you if you don't like it.
Fuck you.
Well, and here's my final resting point. I believe in my heart that if you it's okay to not like Marvel movies. Like, we're all allowed to have our own tastes. But if you're vitriolically opposed to them and like fucking stupid Marvel, people who are so negative and bad about it, I think that you not only want to hate those movies, I think you just want to feel like you're better than the people who watch them.
Yeah.
And
I mean that is a fair point. I get where that comes from. If the only thing that you know about the Marvel shit and the comic shit is the fan base, and you're looking at Comic-Con and shit, I can see where you draw assumptions from. But also, I don't know, those people are just really, really fucking into it.
Well, but
more so than you would be comfortably being, and the kind of people who are that into Marvel, the kind of people who would shit on them are also that into sports.
That's literally what I was getting ready to say. I was like, nobody fucking bats an eye when a bunch of sweaty people get in a stadium and paint their fucking face with Wildcats and letters.
Yeah, and I
but
guess
suddenly when you do it in a convention center and you're a comic book character and not just a shirtless guy in paint, you're the fucking worst, I guess.
Yeah, and the sports people would say, yeah, well, at least sports, and I'm a big sports fan.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with being a sports fan.
I'm a sports and a Marvel fan.
Yes.
The sports people would say, well, sports is real. Well, it's like an actual thing that's happening, but also it's not. What's happening? It's a game.
It's a game.
It's like a game of frisbee, but with more complex rules and
a lot more money.
Yeah, and concussions in it.
And that's all that movies are. It's just a game of pretend that has been scripted.
Yeah,
that you're all coming to watch.
Yeah, if you don't like Marvel, then you don't like I don't know, the criticisms that people have against Marvel. It's like, well, fuck you. Do you not like Jurassic Park?
Yeah,
go fuck yourself. Do you?
Because Jurassic Park is pretty blockbuster pedestrian.
Yeah. Don't want to. I don't know. People with no creativity and imagination, man.
Here's everybody is a nerd about something.
Oh yeah,
We're
for sure.
all nerding out over something. And if you say you're not, you're lying to yourself. You're a nerd about something. There is something you're super into to an embarrassing degree, or you're just not a person. Everybody has things that we really like. And everybody out there, you're a nerd about something, and that's great. And I love you for it.
Yes.
Keep being a sports nerd. Keep being a comic nerd. Keep being a D&D nerd. Keep being a book nerd. All you nerds out there, keep doing your fucking thing. That's what I want to leave off on.
Yes, and I believe it's my turn to close out the episode.
Thanks for listening to Kentucky Fried Roadkill, you all.
Thanks for listening to Kentucky Fried Roadkill. That's Treyton Blackburn.
That's Evan Pride.
And God damn it, I watched a documentary the other day. I'm going to close it on this.
Yeah.
About Lemmy from Motorhead.
Yeah.
Who I highly recommend everybody. It's just called Lemmy. And it's on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
I'd recommend everybody watch it. I'm a big Motorhead guy.
Yeah.
Love Lemmy. And Lemmy was a dude who was he was the most rock and roll dude ever, and he did his own thing. But the biggest thing that I got from that documentary, and the biggest thing that I got from the life of Lemmy, who was just the epitome of rock and roll. He was rock and roll incarnate.
He's a rock and roll nerd.
Yes, is that do your thing. Don't get in the way of other people trying to do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, help them out. Help them do their thing.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Hey, we're not counting off. That's a beautiful sentiment to end on.
Yeah.
This has been Kentucky Fried Roadkill. I'm Treyton Blackburn.
I'm Evan Pride. Go do your thing.
Do your thing.